Welcome to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about homesteading stuff and life stuff and everything in between. Join me, Amy Dingman, as we explore big questions on a little farm. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. This is episode 299. This is the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about life and how to live a good one. I have to apologize for not recording podcasts for a couple weeks. There's a reason for that. I have a ton of topics on my list that I want to talk about, but they've all been kind of these reassess your life kind of things, or Amy's been really convicted about these certain things and kind of feels like a dill hole, or it's just kind of these big, heady kind of topics. And since this podcast isn't just information, it's not just like how to do this, how to do that. It's really more heart and soul. So sometimes it's hard for me to record a podcast for you all when I'm stuck up in my brain and trying to figure things out. So today's topic is actually just going to be an exhale of things, something that I've been thinking about. And some would say it's something I've been a little convicted about. And I think it's something good to talk about, especially as we head into a season where we're going to be around a lot of people. Okay? But first, what's been happening on the lifestead? Well, the last episode that I recorded, my husband and my oldest son were gone. They were deer hunting up at our cabin way up north next to the Canadian border. They came back without a deer, but then as often happens, my husband promptly goes out back here at the farm and gets a deer because, of course, right? There's one right in the backyard. So that meant that I got to make venison stew and can some venison broth. And I also got to make venison heart, which was absolutely delicious. Anybody who wants to bring me a venison heart, I will be forever indebted to you. It was delicious. It was wonderful. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the kitchen here. I actually made yogurt for the first time in my Instant Pot, and apparently I'm one of the last 4 people in the world to figure out to do this. It's just something I have not done, and I finally did it, and it's delicious. It's so much better than what you can get in the store. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to be able to use the Instant Pot to do this. My favorite way to have it is actually to mix some maple syrup and a little vanilla extract into it. It is so delicious. So if you have an Instant Pot and you have not made yogurt in it yet, I highly suggest doing that. What else? Y'all, I don't know what in the drunk algorithm is going on with Facebook, but it is so broken lately. It is so confused, and it has been this way for at least a month, maybe 2, and it's not getting better. And I feel like Facebook, a little big for its britches. It's huge, right? It's the biggest thing. And I think sometimes it just gets confused, and it goes through these phases where it doesn't know what's happening. But y'all, I am on my Facebook page and I'm scrolling and I am seeing stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with anything I am interested in. Literally the exact opposite of anything that I would be searching for. I've been seeing, I will say, wildly inappropriate things on Facebook, especially, and the funny thing is, it's when I'm on my Christian page, my faith-based page, A Farmish Kind of Faith. I'm scrolling the news feed for that, and I'm seeing female anatomy that I don't need to see, crazy things that I've never seen on Facebook before, and now it's just flooding my page, and so interesting stuff going on at Facebook. I'm not leaving Facebook. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are dealing with the fact that Facebook is just ridiculous and broken. So just a reminder that if you are wanting a place to talk about homesteading and lifesteading, ask questions, get answers, talk to some great folks. I also am on Discord and on Telegram. So if you want to have some conversations and you don't want to have to scroll through the crazy, why are you showing me posts about soccer in a different country? And like, why are you showing me this stuff? I've never searched for this stuff. If you're frustrated with that and you just want to have conversations and not have to deal with that, you can find me on Discord and Telegram as well. The links for that are always in the show notes if you want to find them. What else? I'm going to give you another update on the Farmish papers. I know I talk about this all the time, but we are getting to the end of this year, and my snail mail newsletter in 2025 is going through a little change. Instead of it being a monthly newsletter that is about just homesteading and lifesteading, it is turning into 3 different quarterly newsletters. So if you are someone who has previously subscribed to the Farmish papers and you have not gone back in and resubscribed for what papers you want to continue to get, the December issue that should be arriving in your mailbox real soon is going to be your last issue of the Farmish papers. You need to go in, you need to let me know how you want to continue your subscription, if you want to continue your subscription. If you don't, let me know that as well. And if you've never subscribed to the Farmish papers, you need to let me know if you want to start getting that in your mailbox. The 3 different quarterly options are, number 1 is the regular Farmish papers, the homesteading, the lifesteading, what it's always been. The second quarterly option is Faith and Fence Posts, and that is my faith-based ponderings about the world, I guess we will say. The third quarterly option is the Tin Roof Review, and that's where we're going to dive into some rabbit holes of conspiracy and controversy and all of that. So you can head to the show notes. There will be a link there that will tell you more about how you can get this started, bringing some awesome to your actual mailbox, because snail mail is fun. Maybe because I'm a nerd, but yeah, I like to do it. So that is your reminder. Get on that if you don't want to miss out for what's happening in 2025. All right, now it is time to head over to the main topic and do a little exhale about something I've been thinking about that I think we probably all need a reminder of, especially as we are going to be dealing with lots of people this time of year. It's really hard for me to see the world in black and white. I'm a pretty logical person when it comes to like working through facts and making decisions and all of that. If you know the Myers-Briggs, my personality type is INTJ on that test. So if you know about the Myers-Briggs, you know what we're working with here. So I'm logical. I work through the facts. I make the decisions. And yet it seems there's always an example hanging out somewhere in the back of my mind or in the world that makes me look at the other side. And being reminded of the other side has been happening a lot lately. So much so that, I had to take a little break from recording podcasts because my brain was suddenly just overwhelmed with this. I said this in the podcast, or I posted this online, but then 2 days later, I met someone who made me stop and totally question the validity of everything that I had said. And that's not a bad thing. It's good to have different perspectives, but man, sometimes it can really mess with your head. For some folks, getting older makes us stronger in our convictions, right? Because you've experienced more life, and so you have more knowledge, you have more experience, and so it makes you a little bit stronger in what you believe or what you think or what your convictions are. And for me, I would say that's mostly true. I think it's probably true for most people. And yet I also feel like there are a lot of beliefs in my own life with which I realize my way and the highway get pretty tangled up somewhere along the road. And there's an example that immediately comes to mind. And this happened a couple weeks ago. Y'all know I talk a lot about food and eating better food and getting away from the crazy and the crap food and the chemicals and just all the junk, right? And in our house, we've always used a lot of homemade lard. And if we're going to buy a fat to cook with, it's usually olive oil or coconut oil, right? Now, my youngest came home to visit a few weeks ago, and while he was here, we ended up at the grocery store together, and while we were there grocery shopping, he grabbed vegetable oil off the shelf and he put it in the cart for himself. And without so much as a pause, I said, "Oh, you guys use vegetable oil?" Now, my kid, who lives almost 3 hours away, who goes to school full time, which he is paying for, who rents an apartment because there's no dorms for the school. He has to do laundry at the laundromat because there's no laundry machines in the apartment. He works as many hours as he can. He eats what he and his girlfriend cook at home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Doing it all the right way, right? The way you're supposed to do it, right? This kid looks me square in the eye and he says, "Mom, I can't afford olive oil right now. And you know what went through my head at that moment? It was not, well, son, you should do something different financially so you can afford better food. It wasn't that. It was actually, wow, Amy, you're kind of acting like a privileged jerk. And actually, what went through my head was more profane than that, but you get the idea. Has it really been so long that I can't remember being a 21-year-old newlywed, staring at the grocery store shelves, wondering how to make the paycheck stretch around my grocery basket so we could put something in the cupboard? It wasn't that long ago. And at that point, I didn't care what kind of cooking oil we were using. I just cared that we had some. And it's stuff like these situations and others of various topics that have me stuck in my brain, watching the world and wondering how it is that we move forward in life, but forget the reality of all the roads that we've already walked. And I've been wondering how we've turned life into a competition of right and wrong over every little thing, and we've forgotten that we're all just people. And how many of the folks out there who claim they're different because they're somehow enlightened about whatever and they don't want to be like anyone else are still, at the end of the day, just trying to fit into another club that's made up of people who don't care about anything or what any of you think. But the thing is, if we all admit that we're just people, what are we going to have to talk about? Right? If we all admit that we're just in different places on the path to figuring it out, whatever it is, where's the drama in that? Where's the excitement in that? And if we stop long enough to consider that there are so few things in life that are actual solid black and white issues, how do we learn to sit in a room or a world with so many shades of gray? What if we're all just people? And what if life isn't actually a competition? And what if we're all just punting? And what if we're all just as confused as the next person about what we're supposed to be doing? So we latch on to the next big thing, the next big piece of information, the next big breakthrough, the next big whatever, but none of us really know what's going on. What if we're not supposed to, as we pretend we know what's going on, what if we're not supposed to look down or sideways or cross-eyed at people who aren't where we are, wherever that is, and can't be where we are? And we forget that we once were where they are. Like, we forget we haven't always been where we are. As I've gotten older, do you know what I've realized? Now, this is generally speaking, okay? Things I went through in my life, realizations I came upon, ways I moved forward, things I struggled with, were not because of who I was. It was because of what stage of life I was in. I look at some younger females in my life, and I think, I remember being there. I get why they are struggling with what they are struggling with. I get why they feel the things they feel. And I realized that what I was feeling at that age wasn't special, even though I thought it was. It's just what you feel at that age. It's just what you feel at that stage of life. It's just the struggles of what you're going through at that time. And I say that because wherever you are now is not where someone else is, and it's really easy to forget that. Can I buy better food now because I'm better with my money? Maybe. Or is it because the financial realities of a 20-year-old are much different than a 45-year-old? And understand, this episode is not just about money. This is about all of life. Like, there are mental health issues I struggled with in my 20s that do not affect me now. And some people might say that's because I learned to deal with stuff, and it might be. Or it might be that being a 20-year-old is different than being a 45-year-old, which is different than being a 60-year-old, and that's different than being an 83-year-old. And we forget that. This isn't just about age, though. It's the difference between being single and married. It's the difference between going to school and working full time versus being at home raising your 47 kids. It's the difference between having kids and not having kids. It's the difference between renting an apartment and having a mortgage on a house. It's the difference between eating ramen and eating grass-fed steak. And we move through various things in life, and we think we are moving forward, which means whoever isn't where we are is behind us. And we think that by telling them, you know what, you should really use olive oil, is somehow going to make them catch up. Y'all, we cannot say things like, it costs more money to eat healthy, which is absolutely true, but then look down at people who can't afford to buy grass-fed tallow or some kind of natural deodorant or whatever, and roll our eyes at the choices they are making that we don't have to make anymore because of where we are in life. And I get that, we've made choices and sacrifices that have brought us to where we are. So yay, gold star, blue ribbon, all the praise for you. But you were not able to make all those choices as a young adult just starting out. You are not able to make those same choices when you're going through divorce. You are not able to make those same choices when you're going through treatment for a disease that your health insurance has decided they're not going to pay for. Etc., etc., etc. And if for some reason you were able to make those same choices, it was at the expense of other choices that needed to be made. Show me a 19-year-old that is eating all organic food, and I will show you a 19-year-old who probably still lives at home or has their parents paying for a lot of stuff. I don't know a lot of 19-year-olds who are buying all organic, all grass-fed, all the stuff that we talk about that you should buy. It's not common. That's not because 19-year-olds suck. It's because of the stage of life they're in. So this is just a reminder that we are all people on a journey. If you are where you want to be and you feel really good about where you are, you should spend more time being thankful for where you get to be and the choices you're able to make, and that you were able to arrive at the place in life that you wanted to be. We can all get super zealous about the way we live, right? They joke that CrossFitters will spend all their time talking about CrossFit and trying to get people to do CrossFit, right? We can all get that way with whatever is important to us, whether that's the way we eat or the way we use money or where we live or health decisions we've made or the roles we play in our household or whatever. But honestly, we're all just people working with what we have. We're all in different places along the path of figuring it out. And remember, wherever you are right now is not the end of the path. You're still going to realize things and make changes and look back on where you are now and think, remember when I thought? Or remember when I believed? Or remember when I tried? Or remember when I couldn't? We're all still on the path. If you are hearing this, you're still on the path. But we're all just trying to figure it out, whatever it is. And there are ways to be helpful and encouraging to others on that path. And there are other ways to completely lose your perspective and at the same time shut people down. We are where we are because it's where we are. And we're all just people. So that is just something that has been on my mind. Finally got it out there. Finally exhaled, did a word vomit so I can get that out there. So now hopefully we can move on to other topics. But I just wanted to bring that up. I think it's something that's really important to keep in mind. And I think we all need that reminder, including myself, because when we start talking about topics about how to make the world better and how to live a better life and all of that, sometimes we can get really caught up in stuff that can make us sound a little bit privileged, a little bit out of touch, a little bit wonky on our perspective. We all got to remember where we came from and where we're headed and all of that. So keep that in mind as you are dealing with people this month and continuing on into next year. Thank you so much for hanging out here and listening to this episode. Remember to head over to the website and check out the new information about the Farmish papers. Join the Discord, join the Telegram if you want somewhere to talk that's not Facebook. And I think that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show today. To continue the conversation, visit our website at afarmishkindoflife.com, find A Farmish Kind of Life on social media, or drop me an email at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. Peace, love, and bacon, y'all. Stay farmish.